Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Tamara. Today we are back with another Book Talk Made Us Read It, but with a twist. We are diving into the genre of dark romance. We will be comparing and contrasting two very different books in this genre, and they both have a Halloween theme. If you'd like to see us in video format, head on over to Patreon and you can watch this episode right now. Plus, we will have an after show featuring all the not safe for work stuff that we want to talk about. And don't forget, you can also join me and my two co-hosts over on the Book Club's app for even more bookish chats. Please subscribe and like the podcast wherever you are listening. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Shelf Addiction. Joining me today is featured co-host Casey from Hearts Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here on this Halloween episode.
Ooh.
And it just got cold today.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
You know what? It's really on theme. We're checking all the boxes for the Halloween.
Yes.
Yes. Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook at Heartful of Ink, Instagram at Casey_Heartful of Ink, or on my website, heartfulofink.com.
Okay, and before we get started, of course, we always want to remind you that with Book Chats, we talk full spoilers here. Spoiler alert. You've been warned. So as usual, first, stats and synopsis times 2.
Yes.
Do it twice over. Because I think we're going to end up kind of meshing them,
I think so.
All right, so here we go. First up is Scream for Us, a dark romance Halloween novella written by Molly Doyle. Published October 12th, 2021 by the author. The Kindle version is 122 pages. There is no audiobook available, but it's included on Kindle Unlimited at the time of recording. Casey, would you please share the synopsis on this one?
After wandering into an alluring Halloween party that is said to go down in history, Quinn finds herself captivated by 3 masked men. As she immerses herself in a night of both pleasure and pain, she finally has the perfect opportunity to bring her darkest fantasies to life. Or death. There is a disclaimer that I could read. Do you want me to read it?
Yes, read the disclaimer.
Disclaimer. This book is heavy on the spice and light on the plot. My intent for this novella is to take you on a wild ride. If you're looking for a story with a solid plot, then this is not the book for you. If you're looking for a short, spicy Halloween read with masked men to fulfill your darkest fantasies, this is meant for you. Let's get spooky.
Yes, thank you for that disclaimer because it is necessary.
Yes.
Okay. The second book we'll be discussing is Ghost, The Halloween Boys, written by Kat Blackthorne, the audiobook is narrated by Orcus Auditory, published October 1st, 2022 by Dark Heart Press. The Kindle version is 356 pages. The audiobook is 12 hours and 48 minutes. This is also included on Kindle Unlimited at the time of recording. Casey, would you please share the synopsis?
Ash Grove is a fine place to die. Ames. I wanted to shake her and scream, "You don't have to be afraid anymore. You have me." And then chain her to my bed and yell, "You should be very afraid that you now have me." I inhabited a form that was what every legend and dark tale warned little girls like her about. I'd slaughtered 1,000 times over, and I'd do so 1,000 times more. But the worst thing I'd ever do would be what I did to her. Blythe. If I kept running, I wouldn't break. If I kept hiding, I wouldn't cry. If I kept moving, he wouldn't find me. Running from an impossible evil landed me between the claws of something ancient and horrifying. I went to the masquerade as a fox. How ironic, because I didn't feel clever, sly, or brave. I was a wounded rabbit waiting for teeth, and more than one set of fangs found me. The worst part of all, I liked it.
Okay, so
yes.
Y'all, these are TikTok. You will find these on TikTok. If you look them both up in the search, you'll see lots of reviewers talking about these books. I don't know if I would say they're reviews. Some of them are reactions.
To be fair, there's not a whole lot you can say about Scream for Us.
No, there's not. And I feel like I saw something where I was like, OMG, what is this? But you know, and also for Ghost, there are people playing parts of the audiobook on there reacting. And the audiobook narrator, Y'all, you don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss
for science.
This.
We
for
need
science.
to listen.
For science, yes. And then, you don't need to report back because I don't need to know what happens. So, yeah, okay. High level, what'd you think of them both?
I enjoyed both. I thought Ghost was much better. And I very much have a demented brain, and I'm so sorry, but I laughed through Scream for Us. Like, I laughed at so many different parts of it. I'm a little worried about myself, and I think I need to call my therapist.
No! Oh, no. Not that. Oh, God.
I was just sitting there laughing, and I was like, I don't think this is the right response, but I can't stop laughing.
Yeah, I wasn't laughing, but I think I was like, okay. Okay, so to me, I felt like I generally, I'll just say broad strokes, I generally like this novella. But I found it really just pornography. It was just
absolutely.
Pornography.
Yeah.
And that's fine, right? That's fine. But I do find that I like a little more plot with my pornography. So that's why it's fine, quote unquote.
There is a full-length version of the story, and I'm actually kind of tempted to go read that just to see if that might give me more to the story so I won't laugh.
I'm not interested, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So as far as Ghost, I really like that.
Yes.
A lot, to the point where I've already started the second book.
I plan on starting the second book soon. So yeah.
So that says a lot.
Yeah.
The writing styles were completely different.
There was so much plot and world building. They are polar opposites, even though both of the heroes are named Ghost, which was fun.
Yeah, so to me, okay, so I think Scream for Us is more like erotic horror, and Ghost is more paranormal romance with darkness and some erotic parts.
Yes.
That's how I think I would put it. I think that for me, I think maybe Scream for Us might have been more interesting if they were not regular ass dudes.
Yes. And I had that same thought while I was reading Ghost, because I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm totally down for murder when it's demons and werewolves and vampires and creatures. Oh my. But when it's regular dudes, just, murdering for murder's sake, I'm like, no. These fight scenes are weak.
You hurt my sex girl for the night's feelings. We're gonna murder you all.
We're gonna light the house on fire. What the fuck ever.
To me, like, these guys just seem so trash.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, ew, there is no way. No fucking way. Like, I think that's a problem. I couldn't even imagine myself, even in an imaginary situation, dealing with these guys. They seem like they'd be like smelly and dirty. That's just me. They weren't sexy. They were like gross.
They were, and very just not, they didn't have any depth to them. Like Ghost, the main guy, had a little bit of a personality, but the other two, who was dressed up as Jason and Michael Myers, they had no personality. They could have been replaced with a sexy boot, and it would have been exactly the same. And then one part that had me just rolling in hysterics. So halfway through the book, she finally starts messing with two of them, because the three men have been standing around, and she's with Ghost and I think Jason at first. And I'm just like, so is Mike sitting there like twiddling his thumbs while she's making out with the two dudes? And then they carry her to bed, and he doesn't follow. So I'm just like, is he just sitting on the couch listening to them, twiddling his thumbs? Like, I'm sorry. I have the most demented mind, but I was just laughing so hard, picturing him sitting there on the couch in the dark, just listening.
That's creepy.
Sorry.
That's creepy.
It is.
And I feel like he would be doing that, though. That seems appropriate for...
Like, she's with three dudes, and the one dude just doesn't do anything. Doesn't even follow them into the bedroom.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
I was laughing so hard.
And I can't. Okay, so they called the guy Ghost because he had a freaking
ghost face
on, and I'm thinking, like, is it the Scream ghost face?
Yeah. It's not sexy.
It's not.
None of them are sexy.
But when they finally took their
hood
mask off and their whatever they had covering their face, suddenly she's got the 3 hottest guys ever. Of course,
that is the biggest fantasy.
Like, what? Girl, no. Get out of here. I don't know. It was fine. I think something about it, like I said, it just wasn't sexy to me. It was just like dirty.
I mean, it was so over the top. And again, like, maybe in the full-length novel, it's a little less over the top. Like, if there's a little more world building, if there's a little more from the boy's point of view, and we learn why he was stalking her and why he was interested in her this whole time, like, maybe there's a little more to it. So I'm like, I'm intrigued, but I'm not gonna rush out and buy it tonight, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the part where I kind of really said WTF, like, this is just horrific, and I guess it's horror, so it is horrific. So didn't the girl, like, do something to one of the men right after he killed someone? I'm like, the fuck?
And then he started cutting her with his knife too.
Yes. I'm like, that. Okay, so she already wants to be strangled or whatever.
Choked.
Yes. Strangled to death.
I mean, she might want to be strangled to death, but she was being choked.
Yeah, but now she's like, oh, the knife. I'm like, oh, you're not going to be cutting me with this knife.
No, hell no.
I just, yeah, it's just very, it's a certain type of thing that you're going to have to like to really enjoy this book as the author has intended it.
Yes.
Because you're going to be laughing or saying WTF.
Or both at the same time.
Or both.
Because, yeah, they poured gasoline all over that haunted house and he fucked her right by the back door. And then all of a sudden there was smoke everywhere. And he's like, put my mask on.
Like, oh, I guess we should leave.
Be safe. And I was like, that's not going to do anything.
So she can suffocate while you guys...
Yeah. No.
And so so they meet at this party. And, like, the whole thing is, like, really nasty because, like, there's some guys there, like, trying to assault her there. And I'm like, what the fuck? So these dudes are rescued. This one dude rescues her from the assaulters just so they can have public sex with her and let everybody watch. And then when the assaulters come in, they're like, oh, I want a part of it. And how dare he get mad that the assaulters are, like, wanting to partake of this public display.
They weren't really public. They were upstairs in the bedroom. But it was
public because she didn't know the other 2 guys were there until he took the mask off. And she's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
They were there? So it was kind of like
voyeurism.
You asked for something dark, but there's, like, I think I had a problem with I don't know. It just seemed like there were some consent issues to me.
Yes, there absolutely were.
I tried to disregard them a little bit, but I think that bothers me. Like, I don't mind. Get raunchy. Do what you want to do, but it better feel to me.
You better have a conversation and list out what is okay and what is not okay before you start doing the super raunchy stuff. Because having that conversation in the middle of sex is not a good time to have that conversation.
No. Meh. We could talk about some of the details in the after show, but there's really not much to it, y'all. It's really not that much to it.
If you want something wild, he stalks her.
Stalks her around the party.
She gets attacked by douchebags and he saves her and then starts killing people.
Yeah. Him and his 2 friends.
Who are magically just gorgeous.
Yeah,
no.
It's just not my style, I think. So,
and that's okay.
And this is why I think I don't have any interest in reading the full-length book, because I feel like there's something missing for me. Like I said, the consent stuff. I don't think having a plot is going to change that style.
No, I don't think it would. It would just be to get more detail. Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I don't think this author's erotic romance, quote unquote, is for me. This should be erotic horror.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Very, very dark romance. Very horror. Because it's very gratuitous, very over the top. It's these college boys who have knives and gasoline and murder for murder's sake because why not? And as we were talking earlier, we both realized that we don't like it when humans do this. But if it's demons or werewolves or vampires or whatever, yeah, no, that's great. They can kill all they want. But human serial killers, just no.
Yeah, because so let's contrast that with Ghost, the other Ghost, and his cronies, right?
Yes.
So ultimately, in my opinion, these guys aren't bad.
No.
They're doing bad things to bad people who fucking deserve it.
Yes.
So it's like they're not Boy Scouts, right? They're doing bad stuff.
Yeah, they're killing people.
But they're not like, oh, that guy hurt your feelings, let's murder them.
No, it's like we're going after pedophiles and rapists and abusers. And if you kick puppies, we'll probably kill you too.
Yeah, so it's a different level of bad, which is much more appealing to a wider audience, I think, because everyone gets a pass for killing a rapist. I mean, you just get a pass.
Oh,
you get a pass.
Especially pedophiles, too. I feel like we should all go out and kill pedophiles.
Everyone gets a pass for that. And, that makes the guys, even though Ghost, the main love guy in the first book, he's got some problems with ownership. He thinks he owns this girl. And I don't want to speak because it's coming in the second book, but he's got issues with this, but it still doesn't make him so bad that you can't tolerate it or that it's a turnoff, right? It's not so elevated that it's like, ugh. So you already know he's got a problem.
Yes. And you kind of know it's changing because there is that one scene where he lets his friends watch them. And so you're like, okay. And then later he's like, whoops, that backfired. And I'm like, but did it? But did it? I think this is what she really wanted.
They want her even more now. Why did I do that? Oh.
Duh.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. But honestly, I think it was that book. You see, that's why I should never start another book before I talk about the first book. But it's clear that she likes all three of these dudes. She likes them
it's very clear from the start.
Yeah, so it's only a matter of time before Ghost, aka what's his other name?
Ames is his current, but it was James back in the 1800s.
Back in the day, yeah. So Ames is gonna have to concede eventually. He's gonna have to release the tight bond he has with.
And he
our
will, because he's also bisexual and has fucked both of his friends over the decades or centuries. So,
which is interesting because at first he does not really tell Blythe any of this. He's not saying that him and his friends have those kind of relationships. So he's just really coming off as possessive, and she thinks, and I'm like, oh, so he's the main boyfriend?
He wants to be
for now. He's the primary for now. He's the primary. Isn't that what they call them when they're in poly relationships? The primary.
The primary, yep.
He's that now because he's not allowing anything else. But I do wonder if he will lose that spot if he releases the reins.
You have read more than I have since you started book 2. But yes, there was a moment towards the end of book 1 where she looked into the vampire's mind, Dragon. I'm forgetting his name right now, but he was having feelings of love, and she's like, oh shit, was that you? And he's like, what was me?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, You could tell from the very beginning when he started buying her breakfast. Like,
I know. And she has really unique relationships with all of them. Very different.
I really, really appreciate that in any Wide Shoes book, because sometimes the author's like, oh, it has to be Wide Shoes, so let me introduce you to 5 men all at once. They will never kiss or touch each other. We're just really going to focus on like 2 of them, and then everybody's going to randomly have sex together. And that's not so what this is. Boring and bland. But this is, they all have well-developed backstories and personalities, and they each have a different relationship with her. And yes, right now she is 100% with Ghost/Ames, but you know that door is open. You know there's a long series coming.
Yeah, because I mean, even so, the author introduced us to these guys right out the box. Like, they're pounding each other to death. Like, they're going for broke, beating each other up. I'm like, whoa, what is gonna
Can I just say that fight scene also had me laughing because it felt so...
It was funny.
Weak. Like, I was like, this is the weakest fight scene I've ever read. I've had worse brawls with my sisters over the years. Like, and they're like, we're tough men. We gotta beat each other up. And I'm like, yawn. Just yawn.
But you know, though, I kind of feel like it was like that because they're all supernatural.
Yeah, they're supernatural and brothers, and you can't beat each other
like they're
too
evenly
bad.
Matched.
Yeah,
like one is not extremely more powerful than the other. So,
except maybe the devil who was there for that fight and then disappeared for the entire fucking book.
He's not really around, so we don't know much about him. He's like the unknown in all of this, but they all like each other. They all love each other. They don't actually want to kill each other, which is why it's like, okay, well, we know why that fight scene was so weak, because they don't actually want to kill each other. They're just trying to burn some energy, I guess.
Yeah.
You know. Let's play Fight Club for a minute so we can burn off some of this killer energy.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but I don't know. I liked all the guys in that book.
Oh yeah. No, this one felt way more satisfying and really good paranormal Halloween-y book, because it's this small town that celebrates Halloween all month long. There's every paranormal creature you can think of. There's, I don't want to call it slow burn, but it's, more than halfway through the book before they finally start hooking up. Or right around the halfway point. Not quite slow burn, but like not insta.
I like that though. I like that, and maybe that's why I don't read a lot of quote unquote hardcore erotic books, because I do like, not the whole book. Like you said, it was 50%, but I'm like, I believe it. I believe it. But it's crazy to me. So when they finally decided to do it, I'm like, graveyard sex, girl. Girl,
lose your virginity in a graveyard.
Now, so, okay. If I had to have one bone to pick, it's the virgin card. I hate the virgin card.
Yes.
I hate it so bad. Yes. I'm like, if you're about to be dealing with these guys that are so outrageous, especially Ghost doing okay. After show, mark this for after show. He's doing this stuff. You need some experience, girl. You can't be on the first time out the gate dealing with this guy.
Not something.
No.
After show.
Yes. So I'm like, I wish they did not have her be virginal. I'm like, why would the author choose that? I don't even think it matters if she was not virginal. There was nothing in the story that had to be, nothing correlated with that in the story. So
just sexier.
I just wish that she wasn't
him, I guess.
It's not sexier. It's not sexier for me as the reader. Aren't you supposed to be sexy for the readers?
Yeah.
I guess some people think it's sexy, but I'm not about the virginal thing. No. Pass. This guy been sleeping around for 200 years.
Yeah. Yeah. With his friends and with other women.
Yeah. Can she get 1 or 2?
Now she's about to get 3. Maybe 4 if the devil shows up. So, she's making up for lost time.
I guess, but yeah, if I had to nitpick, that's my one nitpick. I just don't. Authors, stop making the woman so virginal.
Yes.
Please stop. Unless she's 17 or 18 years
Well, she
old, there's no
was
need to be a virgin.
20? 19, 20? Like, I don't think she's actually 21 yet. Or was she?
I don't know. Well, she was drinking, so... And this is America, maybe.
But this is a magical town in the middle of nowhere where there are no police.
I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Even if she... Like, look, she doesn't have to have a book. She can have one. She can have one first love, one whatever, one something. Just, it doesn't matter. Just don't be a virgin. I don't care.
She did say that she like made out with people and did stuff.
Ooh.
But didn't,
made out.
Didn't go all the way.
Girl. Ooh, made out. And now this is what you're dealing with. No, I feel sorry for you a little bit. I'm prepared. So, anyway... outside of that, I didn't really have too many things that I didn't like. I really liked the second book. I liked the pacing. I liked the characters.
How far into the second book are you?
Oh, first book. Okay. Sorry. I'm about 25% into the second book.
Wow. Yeah. You really like it.
Yeah. I'm like, I just picked it up. I finished one and I waited the whole day. I said, I'll wait. And I said, no, I can't do it.
Can't wait anymore.
I can't, yeah. I want to see how it's going to end up. So now, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I like it.
Well, yay.
Yeah, good stuff. I want to talk a little bit about the themes.
Yeah.
Like,
what themes? Do you want to talk about Halloween? Do you want to talk about romance and horror?
Yeah, let's talk about romance and horror and this whole dark romance theme in general that seems to be making like huge like impacts in social media, TikTok specifically. Like people just are eating this stuff up right now. Well, before we do that, let's take a really quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about dark romance. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't even know. Anyway, we're going to take a break, y'all. Check out these commercials. And when you come back, we'll be right here waiting. Be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, we're back. Okay, so this time of year I read horror, spooky, thriller type stuff anyway. So since we read mostly romance together, why not pick up the dark romance or the spicier romance with some Halloween themes? But I want to know, because like you are like a diehard romance reader. Yes. So when you're seeing all these things on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, do you kind of know why this is like hot stuff right now? Or
so this is all speculation, but I think it's a safe way to explore for some women. So in general, our society right now, women are very obsessed with murder, right? Murder podcasts are everywhere, the murder documentaries, everybody's always talking about being kidnapped and murdered. This takes that dark stuff and puts a spin on it where you're actually kind of safe. So obviously, yes, it's dangerous. Nobody really wants to get kidnapped in real life. Nobody wants to be cut on the neck and the shoulder while having sex, unless that's your kink, and no kink shaming. But like, we don't actually want the dark stuff. We're kind of fascinated by it. We want to consume it and see what happens, even though it's terrifying. But the dark romance puts us in a place where we have a man, like in Scream for Us, they say, oh, you were bullied? Let me go kill your bullies for you because you deserve happiness and they're assholes. And that's a fantasy right there, right? Like, I'm sure you have people in your life who you're like, God damn, I wish I could just kill you because you were a bully to me at some point in my life, right? Like, everybody kind of has
No.
those fantasies. Like,
No.
not even middle school bullies.
I guess I only got moderate bullies. I mean, not enough where I want anybody to take them out. I just would not mind if they were like losers and never made any money. That kind of.
That's a very healthy response. So you're good. You're sane. You get the gold
Thank
star.
I can save money on therapy in that area.
Yes. But, you know, like it's that fantasy of like, okay, so if I was kidnapped, what if he was hot? And what if he could give me the best sex of my life? And what if he actually really loved me for me and didn't judge me and really, you know, took care of me and fulfilled my fantasies without, again, judging me for that? Because we're also in this very Christian, very mum's the word, don't speak about sex. And so, you know, when you repress something, it kind of comes out in darker ways.
Yeah.
So if you can't even speak about sex, you might want to imagine being kidnapped. And there have been people who have done their PhDs on romance novels, especially back in the 80s, where women really couldn't talk about sex. It was very, very repressed back then. And so the romance novels had a lot of, you know, Vikings and dukes and people kidnapping women. Like, again, literally kidnapping them and then having the best sex of their life and falling in love and everybody was happy.
Right.
So I feel like this is the same kind of theme because in most of our society, we're still very repressed and can't talk about it. So now we're like, oh, but what if there was this fantasy man who really knew sex and could really please me because my husband just, you know, does that and then we're done and I can't. You know, like a lot of women struggle. And so
am I the oddball out? Because while those fantasies of a perfect sexual fling are fun, I don't need to be kidnapped for it. Or I don't need to be gagged or knifed.
I don't want any of that either. And so I'm trying really hard I don't judge these women. I really don't judge them. Like, I understand. I don't want to be kidnapped. I don't want knives or guns or anything like that. But I understand that, like, my life is so boring.
It's viral. It's viral. It's called it's like called smut talk, I think is what they're calling it. Like dark romance and smut talk are like some of the words I've heard before. So it's like there is clearly an increase of women and men or whomever reading this type of stuff more than ever before. And I guess that's what I'm interested. I was curious, I guess, which is also what motivated these picks. But I mean, I get it. Like you, I don't want to kink shame anyone. Everyone has their own thing. We're a judgment-free zone here on Shelf Addiction. But with that, you know, I have my own preferences too.
And that's totally fine. And that's, again, why I love the romance genre, because you have the whole spectrum. You can have the nice romances where it's fade to black, door shut. You don't see anything, but you're still happy and satisfied. You know, and you can have the ones like Ghost, where you only start having sex at the 50% point and it's hot, but not crazy. And then you can have the really dark ones where it's sex from page 2 and then keeps going, right? Like there's a whole spectrum. And I feel like we really need to accept each other more, because there's a lot of people who don't want to accept the extremes of absolutely no sex to the really dark horror sex. And it's just like,
I get it. Let people read what they want to read. This is how I feel.
Read what you want to read. This is
read what you
books
want.
Are a safe way to explore that, right? Like I would much, much, much rather you read this in a book than try and go out and do it with another human, because that can lead to
please do not run out.
Please don't.
You're going to be like, oh, I did not think it was this. You might be scared.
Yeah,
don't do it.
Don't do it in real life. Like explore it in safe venues, please, God, please. But yeah, no, reading about it is fine. If you want to read and explore and think about your own psychology, and yeah.
But not only that, I think sometimes when readers pick up these kind of books, it could be for self-exploration, like you said, or it could just be out of curiosity's sake. Like things you don't necessarily know about or understand, but you're just
like, what is this?
Or even like exploring some boundaries to see what you actually do like. Because like, let's say you've only read certain types of romance, but you're bored with it. Maybe you're doing some exploratory reading to see what else you may like or may not like. Not necessarily that it's a fetish or a kink, but you just want to
see,
explore. Yeah.
And this is the safest way to do that. So please read all of the books. Don't feel ashamed that, you like this in fiction, but then don't actually want to be kidnapped in real life, because God, no, nobody wants to be kidnapped. But the fantasy is legitimate for
a lot of people. Like I think about like 50 Shades. When 50 Shades of Grey came out, everyone and their mother was like, ooh, 50 Shades. Because, there wasn't a lot of people publishing that and mainstreaming it. And it wasn't just popular like that.
Yes.
And everybody was like, oh, we can't read something a little kinky or a little dirty. And it's fine. Everyone loves it. And I think that kind of paved the way for this other stuff.
Yes.
Because now it's just even more extreme than, way more extreme than Christian Grey.
Yeah. Oh,
Christian
absolutely.
Grey
yes.
Is like an infant in some of this stuff. Like, if you start measuring people by actions in books, like he's that
really
bad.
Not, which is kind of scary. But 50 Shades of Grey definitely broke the glass ceiling for all erotic romance, for all vanilla sex having people, For a lot of people, this was the first time they're like, oh, wait a second. You don't just have to do missionary. There's other stuff you can do. And then they started exploring the other books, and authors started exploring their fantasies in books. And it really did change a lot for the book publishing world, for the genre, for society in general.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And I mean, you could just even really think light of it and like fun of it. Like some people, one person in the Goodreads comments for Scream for Us, her topic was, this girl's got stamina.
I mean, she does.
Like she didn't like the book, but she thought of it like, all she could think about was the level of sex they were having. She didn't really even think about like all the other stuff. It was stamina, right? So it's like how interesting how two people can read the same book and just totally take two different things away. So I don't know what I'm trying to say with that, but it's so interesting to just when you get into these kind of books that are kind of, as you said, taboo, like to see the different reactions to them and stuff. I just think that's so interesting.
It really is. Like it's a study in people and learning and seeing how none of us will read the same book and get the same experience out of it, right? Like you were sitting here going, what the fuck is this? Well, I was sitting here like laughing my ass off, right? And I know there's other people out there who thought it was hot and, maybe had some fun while reading it, and good for you. That's your brain. I'm just laughing. Like we all have different responses to it, and that's fine. That's normal, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So I don't know. It's a fun thing to think about, like how so many people are out here just diving into these books, and good for everybody, including me. We picked up these books, and I'm like, I would have never picked up. I would have read the synopsis for Scream for Us and be like, no, thank you. No, thank you. But it's fun to like break it up sometimes.
Try something new.
Yeah. I guess I'm starting to understand more why it's so viral and why people are clinging to it so much. But it's definitely on theme for this time of year. I'll tell you that. I probably won't be reading this stuff year round.
But October is the time.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, when I'm not looking at someone being murdered to death, maybe I can read someone being effed to death. I don't know. I don't don't know. There's some variation of this out there for me. So that means that anybody can like a variation of it.
And again, it really depends on what the author considers to be dark romance. Like, I would consider Ghost to be paranormal romance, maybe even urban fantasy, depending on definitions, but like very paranormal with dark-ish elements, but paranormal usually is kind of dark. Right? Like paranormal.
Well, none of the paranormal we've read included the types of sex scenes we were getting.
That's true.
With this book. So like the guts of the book are similar to paranormal and urban fantasy.
But it's spicier.
But when you get to like the sex stuff, like you're not reading Cat and Bones with that kind of sex. They're not even that level.
I mean, chapter 32, she tried.
Well, that's one chapter. One chapter. They had the one in how
where
many
they were
books?
Flying and having sex in the air.
But it wasn't very graphic.
No. Janine Frost is not very graphic.
Like this book by what's her name again? Cat Blackthorne. Yeah. Her sex scenes were pretty graphic, and they're not like overly so. Where it's like, oh my god, it's not that bad. But you know, it's more than just open door. Yeah. It's pretty graphic. So yeah, there's like different levels. So okay, I've got to ask, because this is one of the things I was nervous about. I'm like, Casey's gonna read this and be like, one star spice, one level 1 spice, and I'm gonna be like, level 5 spice. So let's do each book and see where we both fall. And I think the audience will get a good idea of what we think, what our correlations are. So Casey says she likes it and it's spicy versus I say I like it and it's spicy. Okay, so spice level alone, leaving the deviant behavior out of it. What did you think Scream for Us was on the spice level? 1 to 5.
3.
Okay.
Like it was... Okay. It had a lot of sex. It wasn't super kinky. It wasn't... I might do it a 2. I'll stick with 3, but like 2.5, 3. Like it was over the top, but it wasn't that kinky.
Okay, so you're doing the kink level. How kinky it is spicy for you. How much kink? I
mean, usually, because,
Okay, so when I think of spice level, I tend to think about, I guess, kink level as well, but also how much of it. So how we just talked about Janine Frost, that was like one major scene in one book. That's really low spice to me. Although that one scene was pretty good. So I think for me, Scream for Us would be a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
But the kink probably, so if I put like the amount of sex like in that bucket, 4 out of 5, and then like the kink, I'll probably put it at 3 out of 5 too. It wasn't that bad. So I'm surprised we're not that far off on that one.
No.
Okay. What about Ghost?
Okay, so I found it hotter just because it was a little more different. And a little more, like, she's having sex on the gravestone instead of just sex in the bed, you know? They're doing stuff in the cave, and she's upside down, which I have thoughts about. And then the group thing. Like, that was everybody kind of actively participating without Mike Myers just sitting on the couch. So I'd put that one at a 4.
A spice level 4. Kink level?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I would also say 4, maybe. I would not say 5, because to me, if I say a 5, it's like too much. Yeah. If I actually say the spice is 5, I'm like turned off by it because it's too much for me. So to me, a 4 would be, okay, this is interesting. Okay, this is kind of hot, but it's not overkill.
Yes.
So, while there are some specific things about those scenes we can dive into in the after show, in general, I think it was spicy. I think the spice level was 4, but as far as quantity, maybe 2.5, because we didn't really get that much of it to the back end of the book. But what they were doing was level 4, I think. Okay, so we did our spice ratings. Let's do our regular ratings that we will put on Goodreads for these books. You start.
Okay, Scream for Us. I'm going to give it 3 stars. It wasn't that bad, but like I can't give it 5 stars. I was just flat. And I was laughing. So like I had a good time while reading it. So 3 stars.
Okay. I would give Scream for Us 2 stars. It was fine, but not quite fine for me to put 3 on my Goodreads, where people see that and say, "Oh, Tamara
said it was okay.
It was decent. She thought it was decent, so I might as well." It's not that high. I'm careful because my 3s mean it was fine.
Yeah,
you know, it was entertaining enough, but
it was entertaining enough, and I am intrigued to go see more eventually at some point. But no, it was over the top. I was laughing. It was fun. So
yeah, I guess I don't know if I'd use the word fun. It was something.
I was laughing. I have to call it fun. Oh God. Okay,
so the first book in the Halloween Boys, Ghost. What did you rate Ghost?
4 stars.
4 stars for me too.
Yes,
yeah, I really liked it.
Was good. The world building was really good. It was really fun.
Yeah.
4 stars. I definitely want to go read the next book, and I'm happy you're reading it.
Yeah, I couldn't believe I liked it that much. I'm like, am I ever gonna like this? I did like it. All right, I think we're done. What do you think, Casey?
I think we're done. I think that's it.
Okay, so now we're gonna dive into the guts of in the after show. In the after show, because there's some comments I have about Ghost. Some comments. Okay, we're going to end things there, you guys. Thanks for listening to the entire episode. Don't forget to like and share this episode with other, what do we call this, dark romance fans. I'm like, what is it again? And we'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves and happy Halloween. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.